यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनातीरावनचारी यमुनातीरावनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनातीरा वनचारी यमुनातीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 जय राधा माधव जय राधा माधव जय राधा माधव जय राधा माधव प्रभुपाद 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 जय प्रभुपाद शिल प्रभुपाद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्री चैतन्य चरितामृत की जय। समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय। जय नित्य गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि 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 बोल। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru, Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagadhitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Narang Chaiva Narottamam Deving Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Welcome everyone to morning's Chaitanya Charitamrita class on a very auspicious day called the Nandotsava. Nandotsava means Nanda Baba has got a new child. Last night he took birth. And today he's celebrating his appearance. It's called the Nanda Utsava, the festival of Nanda Maharaj. And on this day, another child also was born, who became the Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So we can celebrate both of them, appearance of Krishna and also of appearance of Srila Prabhupada. So congratulate all of you with the appearance of Srila Prabhupada. Let us see if Krishna can inspire him or Prabhupada inspire him to speak something today. He Dayal Nitai Vijay Gauranga ki jai. Because last night it became very late. Everyone went to rest very late, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, right? So I can see still some rings and around the eyes of tiredness. And I also didn't prepare that much, so I'll try to speak from the heart and see if there is something in my heart. Is it Madhya Lila? Yeah, it's Madhya Lila, chapter 6, text number 266. Okay, yeah. So this chapter is entitled The Liberation of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And the text goes as follows. Yadyapi se mukti haya pancha prakar salokya samipya sarupya sarishti sayujyar. Please repeat. Yadyapi se mukta haya pancha prakar. Yadyapi se mukta haya pancha prakar. Salokya samipya sarupya sarishti sayujyar. Salokya samipya sarupya sarishti sarujyar. यद्यपि से मुक्त है पंच प्रकार सालोक्य समीप्य सारूप्य सार्ष्टि सरुजयार. Please chant. यद्यपि से मुक्ति है पंच प्रकार Others. One more. Yadyapi, although, say that, mukti, liberation, haya is, panchaparakar, of 5 different varieties, salokya, of the name salokya, samipya, of the name samipya, sarupya, of the name sarupya, sarishti, of the name sarishti, sayujya, of the name sayujya, ara, end. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. There are 5 kinds of liberation: Salokya, Samipya, Sarupya, Sarishti, and Sayujya. Purport. Salokya means that after material liberation, one is promoted to the planet where the Supreme Personality of Godhead resides. Samipya means remaining an associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sarupya means attaining a 4-handed form exactly like that of the Lord. Sarishti means attaining opulences like those of the Supreme Lord. And Sayuja means merging into the Brahman effulgence of the Lord. These are the 5 types of liberation. Gravati vachalang pangum langhayate girim yat kripa tamaham vande Shri Andinatarinam. So, this chapter is dealing with a discussion between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya of his time was the greatest, one of the greatest scholars of Bharatadesha. So during that time, the position of Bharatadesha was not like it has been very recently, all the time, poverty stricken, nobody cares. Gradually, Bharatadesha is coming out of that position and is getting respect and honor in the world again. This is because of one politician who's a devotee actually of Krishna, one can say it like that, very much supportive of ISKCON. And he has basically taught the Indians to again respect their traditional culture, their spiritual culture. And by that, India has grown so far now that the world respects India as a country who has even landed on the moon, like that. So you can see, if you follow Vedic culture, you can grow very fast and very rapidly. Prabhupada used to comment on this, saying that the reason why India is poverty stricken is because they have given up their culture. And why should they not give up the culture? Because they've been overthrown, they have been conquered by the Mughals and the Britishers. So, and he forced them to give up their culture and adapt slavehood of the Mughals and of the Britishers. The Mughal Empire is completely gone. Nobody cares for them. Destroyed in time. And the Britishers, they also don't have any empire anymore. And as far as Europe is concerned, they have a very uh, damaged economical crisis. So if you follow these cultures, you also become poverty stricken. So if you follow the Vedic culture, then you'll always remain rich, wealthy, spiritually educated. Um, because the Vedic culture is a culture which nourishes both the physical aspect of the humans, the mental aspect of relationships, and also the atmic aspects of self-realization. The Vedic culture is perfectly blended like that. In every aspect, it nourishes. The only thing is when they became old, and because Vedic culture is very, very, very old, then you find it sometimes like youth. They have some spirit. We're going to do this. We're going to conquer this, and then these kind of convictions come up in the world in the form of religions, and they try to exterminate ancient thinking. But it proves again and again that Sanatana Dharma, the style of living, which was always there traditionally in India, has again proven to be the most successful. And as he's describing, this politician is saying that the deeper you go into your roots, like a tree, the higher you can grow. So we have to understand whole humanity 5,000 years ago was not separated from Vedic culture. Vedic culture was present all over the world 5,000 years ago when Maharaj Yudhishthira was ruling. And before that also, Vedic culture was the only culture we know. Therefore, if you look in the annals, in the histories of the world, you won't find uh, basically history is accepted to be like 2,000 years old, maximum Chanakya, which means 2,300 years old. They accept it as history. And before that, it is mythology. It is not really history. But that's very unfair. Because before that, you can dive into the Puranas. And in the Puranas and the Mahabharata, you find that there was a international culture. And Maharaj Yudhishthira used to rule like that. Now, you won't find in any society in the world that they blame the Aryans, the original Aryans from Bharatadesha, to be suppressors or to be people who try to convert you into their own opinion and take away your lifestyle. And no, when Maharaj Yudhishthira used to rule, he, and that's the greatness of the Vedic culture. In one sense, you can say it's a caste system, but the other side, it has its plus points. You maintain the different jatis, the castes, because they have a different culture. And the farther you go away from Bharatadesha, the more the variety becomes clear, especially because of the land, the climate, then the dresses change. If you go to Arabia, then people wear this ring kind of thing with a cloth. It is necessary for the extreme heat. And you go further, then you get into Greece, and you get into Roman Empire. In Europe, you come here, then people prefer old Indian dress, just pajamas, which people wear. Pajamas, Indian dress, a very ancient Indian dress, pajamas and kurtas, because the old European dress is actually a woolen sock up to the knee, and that has to be tied with a string. And then there is this half kind of a, leather kind of a pant, that's the original European dress. And then you have this upper sweater, you have a hat and a plume on it, right? That is how Europeans used to look. And they used to wear generally wool because it's cold here, and leatherware, shoes and things like that. But when they entered into Asia, especially India, they saw there is a kind of a tissue which is greater than this leather, and he called it Baumwolle, right? In German, Baumwolle, cotton in English. And it comes from a tree. It is wool from a tree, Baumwolle. And then they started adapting Indian dresses, like long pants going from here to the legs. Especially the kings used to wear like that. Dhoti was also. There was no competition between pants and dhoti in Vedic times. Sometimes you see Krishna also depicted in pants and a long type of kurta dress. What is there? This forefront with buttons, that came later. It was always like I'm wearing here, a bagalbandi, tying on the sides. Because when you get thick, it still fits. When you become thin, it still fits. Brilliant. That's Vedic dress, Vedic male dress. And for ladies, they have saris, and they have lehengas and cholis like that. That was the Vedic dress. And as I said, according to time, place, circumstances, these kind of dresses, they change. So if you go to ancient Russia during the time of the Mahabharata period, it was also Vedic. Everything was Vedic. They were in the Vedic style. But because the climate is cold, then it manifests in another type of dress. It's like wool. Wool is considered to be always pure, especially sheep wool, and also yak wool. They don't have to be washed every day. Cotton has to be washed every day. Silk, as long as it's not contaminated, you can use it. But wool almost remains pure, and therefore that was being used. But nowadays they have found out now nylon and other things, which I would consider you use it as cotton. Every day you have to wash it. So in these cultures, it is Vedic, but it manifests in another style like that. Maharaj Yudhishthira 5,000 years ago was very much aware of that. You find during the Rajasuya sacrifice that when all these different cultures who he was ruling over came to give honor to the emperor, they brought their greatest gifts. Some brought deer skins, some brought woolen mats, some brought carpets for the emperor. So there are plenty of things people used to make. Just like in Arabia, this Arabian carpet is very famous, made of, I think, made of camel hair or something like that, tied together, and it is, a Persian carpet. So it is traditional culture there, and it's something very much valued. So these were given as gifts to the emperor, even in those times. But if you want to egalize everything, make a global structure, and everything has to be the same, it simply cannot work. I've seen in Bharatadesha that now they want to try to adjust and adapt, American dress, which means jeans. Now, you know where jeans is coming from? Jeans is coming from a very low-class job, which is mining. In the miners, when they had to go down, like 20, 30 meters under the ground and find this coal or whatever they wanted to get from the ground, the ores, then they needed cloth which can last, and it brushes against the dirt. And what they used to do, they therefore made very thick cloth. It's like jeans is like 2 or 3 layers of cotton, very thick. And they used to nail it, on the side. They used to do it with nails. And that was actually meant to work under the ground. But somehow or other, it became fashion, and everyone's trying to wear it. Even in India, where it is 50 degrees. You're going to wear jeans in 50 degrees? Jeans are meant for cold climate, because people are not thinking. They adjust it, and then you're just dirty. You're just sweating, and it is dirty, and they don't consider this. No, we have to be like Americans. We have to be like that. That is not there in Vedic times. The adjustment of the dresses and the cultures were all respected. So, but you see, gradually, when the Vedic culture becomes ancient, then others who, like after the Mahabharata war, when the grip of the Aryan kings was lessening and lessening on the world, it describes in the Bhavishya Puran, when 8,000 years were left over of Dwapara Yuga, then the Aryan kings started to lose their power. Before that, they were so powerful, they were ruling the world. But 8,000 years before Dwapara Yuga ends, that means even during the time of Krishna, then the other cultures were becoming powerful. You find the Greek, the Romans, Kaliyavan, as we mentioned yesterday in the class, he was a Turkish emperor, and he came to attack Krishna. So these cultures started becoming powerful. And still, the Aryans were powerful, but then gradually they lost power, and as destiny was there, they were conquered. And though the culture proves to be excellent, they were forced to forget it. And then you find that Prabhupada was very frustrated. He wanted to preach and spread Krishna consciousness, but the politicians were not supporting him. And sometimes he praised America above in India, because at least there he had more freedom. The water was pure, and his followers were more dedicated than the Indians. He could not even make one Indian disciple. And most of them came after Prabhupada brought the Americans to America. There was only one in, I think, in Ujjain, or is it? What is the place he started? League of Devotees. He got one Indian disciple only. But when he came to the West and he brought Krishna consciousness, and thousands of disciples came, and Prabhupada was very pleased with them. And he used to sometimes say that my disciples, they love me so much that if I'll tell them, you climb the roof and jump down, they will do it. And similarly, I will do for them. So that relationship Prabhupada had with his disciples, a very intimate relationship. And this is actually Vedic culture. Vedic culture means you conquer the world with consciousness, Krishna consciousness. You conquer the world by conquering people's hearts. The Indians have never sent armies to destroy other people's cultures or rob them from their wealth. They always sent messengers of spirituality. Saints who went here and there. We find that Kashyapa Muni, he was in this time cycle, he was born in the around the Caspian Ocean. Caspian refers to Kashyap. So Kashyap Muni, the great ancestor of the Devatas and the Asuras, was from that area. That means around, what is it? Caucasian is around north of Turkey, north, what is it? Northeast, right? Caucasian mountains, right? So Kashyap Rishi was from that area. The Caspian Ocean is there. So you found that the Vedic culture was spread all over, and the Prajapatis and everything like that. So the point is, when you go deep into your roots, you end up in the Vedic tradition, and then you'll find your culture, your thinking, your nation, everything becomes glorious, because Vedic culture means everything is connected to Krishna. And when Krishna is in the center, it becomes alive, right? It's like something which is inert, is dead, all of a sudden is enriched with pranic shakti of Krishna, and then it becomes alive. And that it was like that is evidence, because otherwise the Mughals wouldn't care to conquer Bharatadesha. There was so much to gain there, therefore they came. The Britishers didn't wanted to leave India because there was so much wealth and spirituality and culture. And you find also, we can only say it's a suspicion, but there must be some truth to it. When the Britishers took over India, and you find all these Nobel Prizes in science, they're around the period when they conquered India. So it's obvious, we can derive from this, that all that scientific knowledge which was coming in Europe was coming from the Indians. Because there are manuscripts which predate all these sciences. And especially we know about Germany. Germans always had a romance with Indian, especially Sanskrit tradition. They like it very much. It's in their blood to learn Sanskrit. And also German language has, how to say, namfala. You have these vibhaktis in Sanskrit. Derman, desmanas, denman, denman. I know nobody cares for that anymore, but it used to be. We used to learn like this in school, that you have this, there's a die Frau, der Frau, something like that. So it's similar to Sanskrit. So it gives their ancient roots, rooted in Sanskrit tradition. And they always had this romance. And therefore, because they were connected to the Vedic culture, the Germans, even before the Second World War, they are actually the greatest in science. Everyone knows. If it comes to efficiency and quality, then you need German quality, German's way of science, because they derive it from the Sanskrit literature. They have a brain by which they can see mathematical formulas in shlokas. See, so every culture has its own way of talents, way of thinking, way of expertise, and that should be preserved. It's not necessary that everyone has to follow the same dress, same way of, no. There can be varieties, because according to climate, food, these things are best. Generally, people who live in a certain area and they're living there for a long time can survive because they have adjusted and adapted to the climatical situation. And then you also find that the philosophy comes in a different way to you, because the analogies will be different. Somebody who lives in the forest will give forest analogies to explain something. And somebody who's living in a forest of concrete buildings will give analogies of, glass buildings and windows and things like that. And somebody's working all the day with computers, he will talk in bits and bytes and all kinds of programming language, because that's how he lives. Like that. It's funny. So in this way, the philosophy can be explained in many, many ways. So regarding that thing, the Vedic culture is very great. We find in this verse here, the Atmic perfection, the perfection which the Atma can reach, is 5 types here, which is Salokya, Samipya, Sarupya, Sarashti, and Sayujya. And this is meant for everyone. Everyone can attain it. It is not depending on your cultural background. When it comes to spirituality, and that's nice what Prabhupada gave, all the other traditions which are there become secondary. Secondary doesn't mean that we have to completely give it up. Of course, when it is against the 4 ethical principles, then we reject all that. But that also accounts for Vedic aspects. There is also something called Vedic Maya, right? It's not that everything out of India is only Maya and inside there is no Maya. There's plenty of Maya in India also. So that is rejected in order to polish and get the spiritual culture. But for all cultures, it is necessary that their traditions support spiritual development. If a certain tradition does not support spiritual development, it is like contradictory to maintaining soul and body together. It's just like present day. They talk about health and spiritual health, mental health, good relationships, keep the environment clean, have nice air. But then their culture is not supporting that. They only talk about it, but then you're not allowed to do kirtan, but you're allowed to smoke ganja. Then the police will come and they put the Hare Krishnas in jail, and those who are ganja smokers, they get freedom. What is this contradiction? Well, that's present day culture, right? They talk about health and being peaceful, and but then they kill animals. The karmic reaction will come that you will kill each other also. So therefore, this culture has to support spiritual development. And then you get into the Aryan cultures. Whatever the kings were doing, whatever nonsense and sense gratification and they were doing, and stealing each other's princesses and marrying them and all of that, when it comes to the authority of the Brahmins, they would bow down like that. We found that even Indra, when he was capturing Kayadu, the wife of Hiranyakashipu, and was waiting when this little boy would come out, Prahlad, he would kill him. But this is what they do. Kshatriyas can do something like that out of political motives. He's correct, because you kill a demon. But then, as soon as a Brahmin appeared, Devarshi Narada said, no, he will be a Vishnu Bhakta. Immediately they surrendered. So that when it is obedience to Vedic culture, obedience to Vedic literature, you call it a Kshatriya. When he's not obedient, that is not Kshatriya culture. So whatever culture you have, whatever tradition you have, it must be obedient to spiritual culture. Otherwise, if you try to follow a lifestyle in order to develop and in order to let your spiritual consciousness grow, but your tradition is trying to break spiritual culture, trying to break spiritual tradition, then what do you get? A contradiction here. And why spirituality is so necessary? In the inner essence of every human lies the Atma. And spirituality on the Sanskrit level means adhyatmik. Now, I know in Christianity, spirituality is considered to be the mind and the thinking. It's like somebody dies and he becomes a ghost, he becomes a spirit. But that's not actually spirituality in the Sanskrit or tradition. The mind's thinking is not considered to be transcendental fully. When it comes to the Atman, then we find spiritual culture. Now, everyone knows you need the Atman in order to maintain your body. The body contains the mind contains the Atma. And they have to be in harmony, all three of them. If you kill one of them, if you damage one of these three, then you have a malfunction, right? And that's the thing, that people have so much wealth and education in Europe, but they are lacking, they're feeling something lacking. The inner essence, the Atman, is not being fed. It's crying, but they're not aware of it, but they feel a lot of dissatisfaction. So the dissatisfaction coming in an environment when there is so much opulence, that means there is a cry, there's an inner cry. Where is this inner cry coming from? It's coming from the Atman. And because they are not addressing that, therefore they feel dissatisfied. And the Atman can only be satisfied when there is a relationship. And just like the body is being satisfied if it has a relationship with nice prasad. Like yesterday, we had cake, we had so many things. So the body feels, nice, nice good nourishment, nice drinks. The mind feels satisfied when it gets food. What is the food for the mind? Good relationships, affection, motherly affection, fatherly affection, devotees having nice relationships, friendships and love. That is food for the mind. Similarly, what is food for the Atman? Food for the Atman is having a relationship with Paramatma on the Atmic level. That means Krishna. And if you don't have any relationship there, you'll find it's starving. It's feeling hunger, it's feeling pain, and it's crying out for that. Now, if you don't have any culture to support that, you're in trouble. You're really in trouble. You'll find, therefore, very rich nations, even China had that, and very gross examples are there, is that after being so wealthy and so rich and so disciplined Chinese, the youth there commit suicide. And in what strange ways? They will sit with four in a car and they put a pipe on the exhaust pipe of the car, and they extend the pipe into the car itself, close the windows, and give a lot of gas. So they're sitting in a gas chamber and killing each other. Why? Because there's no challenge in life. Everything is given to them, all comforts. Why is there no challenge? The thing is, yes, material life can only give a certain amount of challenge. Once you have reached it, it goes down. Economical growth, when it reaches the top, has to go down, right? Then definitely when it goes down, you find there is a deterioration. But only spirituality, only Krishna consciousness can unlimitedly grow up. And there is no point and there's no going down anymore. And this was actually asked to me when I was in Malaysia preaching. A business lady asked me that, my dear monk, Munish, monk, when I was a young girl, I joined this business and my aspirations were I should come at the top. And then I thought I've gained the goal of my life. I'll be happy and but now I am on the top and I look around and nothing has changed. What went wrong? Can you tell me? So she was intelligent enough to ask a monk, and this is a business lady from Malaysia, to ask a monk, what went wrong? I said, look at this example. You have a desire to climb Mount Everest. And when you reach the top, you think, I've gained it. I've attained it. But yes, you have attained it, but does Mount Everest care who's climbing him? Did a Mount Everest ever care who climbed him? Many of the climbers, they lost their nose, their fingers, because it's extremely cold and it freezes there. Does Everest care for who climbs him? No, because it's not a living object like me and you. So you took a non-living or a non-spiritual goal in your life to be the highest goal. And see, you're not satisfied because it does not reciprocate with you. You needed a spiritual goal. Can I meet you tomorrow in the temple? Yes, you can come, Sunday feast. And she came and we talked extensively that if you want to have real satisfaction, you need a consciousness, a goal which is alive, who will reciprocate with you. As you grow, it responds in the same amount. You see? And that is a relationship on the spiritual transcendental level with Krishna. So these 5 types of liberation are also meant for that purpose. And the amazing thing is that the Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, being a great scholar in Bharatadesha, that's what I wanted to mention, but why I mentioned all these cultures, is that you have to understand when these people are discussing here, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then it is not present-day India, small country. No, it extends like from Iran up to at least Indonesia. So India had his great past and history, and before that even was the whole world. So when you see Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya being a big scholar of whole Bharatadesha, that means he's the teacher from Iran up to Indonesia. So it's a big scholar, He's a big scholar. And now he's discussing with whom? With the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's trying to defeat God himself with his learning. So you can imagine if you're a Sanskrit devotee, you're really fired up. Say, Herr Sir, wir haben heute eine Bücher für Sie, das ist über Yoga, Karma, Meditation. Mahatma Gandhi has es auch gelesen. And you're fired up, and you don't know that maybe it is Vishnu, this guy is standing in front of you. Sir, please take a book, become Krishna conscious. And just like that, you just smile at you that, this boy is so much fired up in service that he doesn't know even who I am. It might happen, something like that. So he's Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. He's so much into debate and scholarship and name and fame that God appears in front of him, he's going to defeat him. You are a sentimental sannyasi. You know the duty of sannyasi is to study Vedanta. Nutun sannyasi, young sannyasi, you're only 24 years old. And you're very handsome, you have to be very careful. He's like a father teaching God. Be very careful. Oh, let me teach you Vedanta. For 7 days on a stretch, he was teaching Mahaprabhu the slokas of the Vedanta. And he was using Sharirika Bhashya or Shankaracharya, which is Keval Advaita, means that the goal of the Vedas is to merge in the impersonal Brahmajyoti, in impersonal light. That's called Kevala Advaita. There is no two, there is only one. And it is only one. You have other Advaitas also, Visishtha Advaita of Ramanujacharya. You have Dvaita Advaita of the Nimarkas. You have Shuddha Advaita of the Vallabhas. But this is Kevala Advaita. And in this Kevala Advaita, one tries to merge into the Brahman, into the impersonal light. Vijay Gauranga Dayal Nitai ki jai, into the impersonal light. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was reading from that, from the Sharirika Bhashya, and tried to convince Mahaprabhu. So after 7 days he asked, for 7 days you have been listening attentively, but you have not even raised one question. So may I ask you why? Because isn't it my duty to find out whether you understood Vedanta or not? So Mahaprabhu said, I understood the sutras of Vedanta, but your explanation I can't understand. What? You could understand my explanations? Yes, I know Vedanta Sutra very well. I know what it says also. But your explanation is covering it. Covering it. Fool! You don't understand. So listen, Sarvabhauma, you're a Mayavadi. You always denied the absolute truth having form. And then a debate started. But this and that, the Mahaprabhu defeated him. Finally, he quoted, Mayavadam asat shastram prachanam baudham uchyate mayaiva vihitam devi kalau brahmana murtina, from the Padma Purana. That Lord Shiva is saying, O Devi, I will appear in Kali Yuga and spread a wrong philosophy, asat shastram, not true, in the form of a Brahman. And then he was silenced. And after being silenced, then he got the mercy. When he got the mercy, then he became so much a devotee Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya that he started changing the scriptures, the slokas. That Tattenukampam susamikshamano bhunjane vatma kritam vipakam ridavagva purbhir vidadhan namaste jiveta yo mukti pade sadaya bhak. He didn't like the word mukti anymore. He changed into bhakti pade sadaya bhak. And when Mahaprabhu heard that, he said, Sarvabhauma, the reading is not bhakti pade, it is mukti pade. Why did you change? So, I don't like this mukti. he didn't like mukti anymore. He liked bhakti now. He understood that bhakti, the emotional liberation, that in liberation there is place for emotion also, that's higher than a liberation when there is no place for emotion. That is Brahmajyoti. There is no emotion. It's only oneness. And then you have these 5 types of liberation here. Salokya, on the same planet. Samipya, nearby, nearness. Sarupya, same form. Sarishi, same opulences. And Sayuja, being very close with the Lord, so much so that you actually merge. We'll read further on that there is 2 kinds of Sayuja. Merging in the impersonal light, and there is also merging into the form of the Lord, which is even more abominable, according to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So this you understand, in a time when God is Salaf on the planet and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is trying to defeat him, but he gets defeated and he becomes a devotee, then what is actually happening? It's setting the standard for the whole humanity to change its form of understanding of what is the absolute truth from impersonal light to personality. And we find still in international religious conferences, people still think that the absolute must be formless, some kind of light. Most of the religions propound that it is a light and it has no form. But gradually, Mahaprabhu's philosophy will conquer that, because it is not the fullest manifestation. It's not that we deny that there is light. There is light. But that light is not everything. Behind the light, there are forms. And as we find also nowadays, Buddhism is very prominent and very much in fashion. I think also in Germany, especially in Holland, if you go, every second house has a little Buddha statue. So they want to have peace in some way, be peaceful like Buddha. But then for ISKCON devotees, it should be very easy to preach to them, because Buddha is the 9th incarnation of the Dashavataras of Krishna. So that's how I preach. He said, the Buddha is the 9th incarnation of Krishna. Oh, really? Yes, yes. And we have a dancing Buddha. His name is Chaitanya. And if you follow him, then you become peaceful and happy and in bliss. And he shows you also that there are forms behind that zero-ness, right? So we can easily do that because it's true. It's just another angle. And then they will take up chanting Hare Krishna, because the Buddha has taught them to chant Hare Krishna, right? A Bengali Buddha. Buddha came in Bihar, and this Buddha came in Bengal, and he taught us how to chant Hare Krishna. Right? Somebody commented, but then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu opposed Buddhistic philosophy. That's fine. Among acharyas, there is also debates. Right? Even acharyas can debate about the different Vaishnava philosophies. It doesn't mean that we don't follow them anymore. Shankaracharya, we don't follow his philosophy, but we follow his poems, or he wrote some stotras like Yamuna Stotra. Ganga. Ganga Stotra is written by Shankaracharya, and devotees sing it. Famous verse. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Krishna is the Jagadguru. Who composed this verse? It's coming from Adi Shankaracharya. So he has his devotional attitudes also, but he came to fulfill Vishnu's desire to preach Mayavad philosophy. But he could not maintain himself as an impersonalist. The devotion just flushed out of his heart. So therefore, we have great respect for Shankaracharya. But when he preaches that aspect of impersonalism, that we don't take. Similarly, Buddha, it says Buddha actually never spoke any philosophy. It all developed after he left. So whatever it is, we respect Buddha as Vishnu, but we don't take his philosophy, right? Because he came with a mission, both of them, Shankara and Buddha. They are meant to delude the demons, and which is necessary in order for the devatas to be able to regain their powers and rule in heaven. So these are reasons for these philosophies to come up. And here, these 5 types of liberation, we can accept them as long as they are favorable for devotional service. And that's the bottom line. What does it look like if you are liberated in this Vaikuntha? What is so great about it? Why do people aspire for it? I have some reference I'm going to read to you, and you can see, have some insight into what Vaikuntha looks like, what these kind of liberations are aiming at. Because just these terms, Salokya Samipya, okay, fine, but how does it look like? So it says here, if it is from the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adilila, the residents of Vaikuntha have brilliant black complexions, much more fascinating and attractive than the dull white and black complexions found in the material world. Their bodies, being spiritual, have no equals in the material world. The beauty of a bright cloud, when lightning flashes on it, merely hints at their beauty. Generally, the inhabitants of Vaikuntha dress in yellow clothing. Their bodies are delicate and attractively built, and their eyes are like the petals of lotus flowers. Like Lord Vishnu, the residents of Vaikuntha have 4 hands decorated with conch, wheel, club, and lotus flower. Their chests are beautifully broad and fully decorated with necklaces of a brilliant diamond-like metal, surrounded by costly jewels never to be found in the material world. The residents of Vaikuntha are always powerful and effulgent. Some of them have complexions like a red coral. So it is not everyone is black there. Some are red like coral. It's like blood red. Have you seen ever red coral? The color of red color is like, like the chair, red. That kind of red it is, but it's shining. So Vaikuntavasis are red, you know. Like cat's eyes. Cat's eyes are brownish yellow. Anything here, cat's eye? Color? You can imagine something like this, but then a little yellow also in there. That color they have. Golden, brownish also, with yellow. And lotus flower. So lotus flower, we know there is white, there is pink, and there is slightly hued to our red. So that's lotus flower. But then you also have lotus flower, which are blue lotuses. So the different colors are there in Vaikuntha. And each of them has earrings of costly jewels. On their heads, they wear flowery crowns resembling garlands. In the Vaikuntha lokas, there are airplanes. But they make no tumultuous sound. Now, Prabhupada teaches something very funny here. Material airplanes are not at all safe. They can fall down and crash at any time, for matter is imperfect in every respect. In the spiritual sky, however, the airplanes are also spiritual, and they are spiritually brilliant and bright. These airplanes do not fly business executives, politicians, or planning commissioners as passengers, nor do they carry cargo or postal bags, for these are all unknown there. So there's no cargo airplane going in Vaikuntha, nothing. These planes are for pleasure trips only, and the residents of Vaikuntha fly in them with their heavenly, beautiful, fairy-like concerts. Fairy? You know fairy tales? How you say that in German? There must be some funny word for that, you know? Hmm? Märchen. Märchen. Like that. A beautiful like concert. Therefore, these airplanes full of residents of Vaikuntha, both male and female, increase the beauty of the spiritual sky. We cannot imagine how beautiful they are, but their beauty may be compared to the clouds in the sky, accompanied by silver branches of electric lightning. The spiritual sky, Vaikuntha Loka, is always decorated in this way. So, obviously, when you read this, some people can hanker for such kind of a perfection, having a beautiful bodily luster and four arms and be equal like Vishnu. So, it is fine because most of the time in the Yuga cycles, those personalities who come, like Krishna, Rama, they are actually expansions of Vishnu. And he might even manifest four arms. Krishna with the flute, but having four arms. That is generally the case. It's only in the 28th cycle of the Manvantaras that the original Krishna appears, Govindam Adi Purusham, and he doesn't have four arms. And that is the form of Krishna we worship. So there's no need for debate saying that, oh, no, Krishna is an expansion of Vishnu or Vishnu is an expansion of Krishna. Both are true. Being an expansion of Vishnu is more often true that Vishnu being an expansion of Krishna. But we take the Adi Purusham as the original. So this is the case here, and this is the perfection they aspire for. So I'm going towards now rounding up the class with some interesting indications how Prabhupada is predicted in scripture, because he's not an ordinary acharya. For those who have attended my Sunday feast class, they got already some insights. But Prabhupada is predicted in the Dalita Vijay Goranga Ki Jai. Especially in the Brahma Vivarta Purana, where there is a reference of mantra upasakas appearing. And mantra upasana is the way of worshipping Krishna to the medium of mantra. And especially the dialogue is here between Ganga and Dwarkadhish, the king of Dwarka, Krishna. So when he says mantra upasaka, it simply refers to those who worship Krishna, specifically Krishna, through the medium of mantra. And as I mentioned then also, that there are the four Vaishnava Sampradayas, like Ramanujacharya. He appeared in 1017 AD. Madhvacharya appeared in 1239 AD. Vallabhacharya in 1479 AD. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu 1486 AD. And Kali Yuga starts 3102 years before date. So the reference in the Brahma Vivarta Purana that after 5,000 years of Kali Yuga's passing, a personality will come who will spread the mantra upasana process all over the world. Like that is Prabhupada's prediction. And when you add up to that, Prabhupada's birthday is 1896. And you add up to that 3,102, you get 4,998 years, which is rounded to 5,000 years. So Prabhupada is predicted in those references of the scriptures that he would come. And also, Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, was saying, when the time will come, he will do everything himself. And the situation is that Abhay Babu, he was a grihastha. That was the previous name of Prabhupada. Abhay Babu means a well-respected gentleman. We say Babu. In Bengali and Hindi say Babu. And his name was Abhay. He used to collect for the Gaudiya mission. He used to donate for the Sunday feasts, for the preaching. And they were very pleased, the sannyasis, with Abhay Babu. And therefore they decided to recommend him that he should live with us. He should also take sannyas. And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, no, it's better that he lives separately from you. Because, by your influence, he will not be able to do what he is meant to do. And he already indicated. They see here that the Acharya of the Gaudiya Math himself indicated that one should live separately. So separate, Prabhupada didn't like devotees living separate and making cooperate together. But cooperation actually also indicates that there are many different entities. If everything is one, then where is the cooperation? Cooperation means there are different entities and they cooperate together. So, like present day, if you look in the business world, you have this phenomenon of having a how you call that thing? It's like a business company within a business company. There's a word for. I'm not so much business minded, but what they do is it's like workers who are very talented and who actually can set up their own business competitive to the mother business. Then they are given a freedom. You can start your business, but on the condition that you buy our products. You can sell them under your name, it doesn't matter, but you buy our products. So you get a business in a business, like that. And it is working very well, because now these people who are working for a salary, they are encouraged to generate, and the profit is theirs, right? To generate, and they have more enthusiasm for starting a business. It's called franchise, actually. Franchise within a franchise. It's very much popular nowadays. So if you look at spirituality also, if you want to spread Krishna conscious movement, it should not be, if you are liberally minded, to allow those who are talented to found a society within a society, right? It's like you have, even in the medical world, there are different buildings are there, different medical associations are there, but they cooperate. And then you need some kind of treatment, and they say, okay, we don't have so much space, we can go there also. It is a sister organization, right? Or just like universities, they cooperate with each other. They exchange professors and things like that. And actually that gives more stability. If some of the branches, they tend to dry up, or there is financial problem, whatever it is, another branch can take over. So we don't see that in ISKCON as yet. And therefore some yatras, they have a lot of difficulties. There's no ashram, no temple anymore. But if you would allow that, a franchise within a franchise, like a temple within a temple, or like associate societies of Krishna consciousness, then if there is any danger to the mother organization, the others are there to easily defend that society. You see, just like we have Bhaktivedanta Institute, it's a sister organization of Krishna consciousness. We have Prabhupada Charity Trust, it's a sister organization of ISKCON. That is BBT, a sister organization, and therefore ISKCON is very stable. So like that, but it requires brilliance. It requires good way of thinking, not that these sister organizations go and clash with the mother organization. That's not what we want. There should be good cooperation, and you'll find that it will be much more inspired, to do things. We can also have that could also be, because modern day type people are tending towards yoga and meditation. Some are going towards Ayurveda, some are more into whatever it is. So you can set up an ISKCON branch, not necessarily under the name of ISKCON, but in cooperation, where we teach yogic principles, right? Precepts to Krishna consciousness. And then the highest level of yoga is then when you do Manasa Puja of the deities and Bahya Puja. And then you go into further meditative process, you hear the mantra, like that. This is how Tamal Krishna Maharaj started preaching in China. There where they were very much bodily conscious, and they were not taking up Krishna consciousness, they didn't go to the temples. And he thought, what to do? So probably he read Prabhupada's quotes. Hatha Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga is meant for those who are very much bodily conscious. So he started yoga schools in China. And then, people joined, doing pranayam and things like that. And then he said, if you want to go further, you should go to the temple. And then the Chinese started going to the temple. And now China is one of the biggest yatras we have, like that. So if you're creative and you're intelligent, that's also Prabhupada's movement. Then you have a franchise within a franchise, so to say. And then, you have many branches or many tinges. Just like Yudhishthir, he allowed different cultures and different traditions to coexist under the Vedic flag. Similarly, we could have something like that also. And then we have much more scope for people who are conditioned in certain ways. People who are more into UFOs, into other planets, what's happening there. And some people are into mystic powers and things like these are all we could embrace all of that if you are able to properly manage all that. So similarly, these liberations which are there can be embraced for those who are qualified enough, who don't become allured by, there's something higher than worshipping the lotus feet of Krishna. We have to understand these are, according from the point of view of Golok, they are not so evolved. But they might think about Golokavasis, that is not so high. If you speak to those who are aspiring for Vaikuntha, the Sri Vaishnavas, if you meet them, I was in Kanchipuram getting out of the bus. I said, Sara, you want to have some guided tour? I said, no, I know Kanchipuram, I know Varadaraja temple. Okay. And then he was speaking, that I said, what do you think of Bhagavatam? Bhagavatam is only pastimes of Krishna Lila. We are Vedantist. We are Vedantist. Very proudly he was a Vedantist. Not knowing that Arthoyam Brahmasutranam Bharatartha Vinirnaya, that the natural commentary on Vedanta Sutra is Srimad Bhagavatam. They don't know. Simply they don't know. So they have this aspiration for Vaikuntha. And they consider it to be, Braja Golok, to be Aranya Vaikuntha. It's like some kind of underdeveloped forest Vaikuntha. That's their concept of that. It is Vaikuntha, but it's forest Vaikuntha, Aranya Vaikuntha. That's Golok. But they aspire for a city life, aeroplanes, and you see like shining beauties. This is what these those who aspire for mukti, 5 types of mukti, they aspire for. So Prabhupada's prediction is very interesting. He came to even teach the Sri Vaishnavas. There was one disciple, what is it? Guru Kripa, I think is his name. He was a sannyasi, and he entered to Sri Rangam, and the sannyasis were giving coconuts to everyone. He's what he is. He's an American, so he took the coconut and he started shaking it. And he threw it up in the sky. People loved it. Later he was called in. He said that, what is the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita? And he was like, well, I don't know. Prabhupada, if you don't know why you took sannyas, and he was completely defeated. So he went to Prabhupada. Prabhupada defeated me. They asked me, Gita, I couldn't answer. And Prabhupada smiled at him. He said, okay, I'll teach you. Prabhupada told him, tell them, because Prabhupada knows them inside out, the Sri Vashi says, teach them, Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. That is the secret sloka. Because Sri Vaishnavas are very much into maryada, into etiquette. Varnashram has to be followed strictly, everything strict. But then Krishna says something else. Throw all of that away. Don't say this. Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam. So it was taught by Prabhupada how to debate with them. So he came in, with new confidence. He started debating with them, and the Sri Vaishnava accepted him. He said, okay, from now on, ISKCON devotees have free entrance in Sri Rangam, their headquarters. So it went on like that. Prabhupada came to even teach the Sri Vaishnavas. But it's not necessary to preach to them because their perfection is in Vaikuntha. And if there is something higher, then their Lord will tell them. Just like Gopakumar, when he entered into Vaikuntha, and he was saying, Gopal, Govinda, Gopinath, that some of the Vaikuntha-vasis said, don't speak like this, because our Lord is the master here. He's not your little Krishna. And so I said, no, you should not say like this, because the Lord also has these pastimes. So there was a difference of opinion in Vaikuntha, whether Gopal, this cowherd boy, Gopakumar, was right or not. Finally, Narada came. He said, you don't belong here. You have to go there where Govinda is all this, a little Gopala. There he was only happy. So it is time, 10 to 9. Any questions or comments? Mm-hmm.
You were briefly touching on different Advaita philosophies. You mentioned Kevala Advaita and some others.
Yes, these are Vaishnava philosophies. The thing is that Kevala Advaita is of Adi Shankaracharya. They say Adi Shankaracharya, we say just say Shankaracharya. But in South India, they say Adi. Why? Because there are so many other Shankaracharyas came after him. So which Shankaracharya do you mean? That's the Adi Shankaracharya, original Shankaracharya, which is mentioned in the Padma Purana as an avatar of Lord Shiva. That's the Keval Advaita, only Advaita. And actually scientists like it very much. The quantum physicists, they have another term for that. The singularity. Not duality, but singularity. Finally, everything merges in the singularity. All atoms, protons, neutrons, photons, they all merge into the singularity. They took it from Advaita Vedanta, these people, But then some scientists say, no. If the app, is the original, is manifesting so much qualities, it cannot be unqualified. There must be qualities also in the origin. This is Vaishnava philosophy. So the thing with quantum physicists is they're measuring things, they're speculating things, but the point is they're seeing something, And these mathematical formulas, it's like Sanskrit to us. It's like when it says in Sanskrit and it is given by Vyas, it is absolute. Nobody doubts. For them, if it's put in numbers and equations and all kinds of funny, differential signs, then it is absolute to them. If you can, by mathematics prove it, it is true. That's how science works. So then you have this. Some accept also the Vasishtha Advaita of Ramanujacharya, which means Everything is one, but it's qualified one. So it's the next step. Ramanuja came to actually evolve Kevala Advaita into Vasishtha Advaita. It's like Jiva and Ishwar are one, but there are also two. I probably like that very much. Visishta Advaita. That the absolute is one, yes, there's only one absolute, but it has also qualities. It also has Shaktis, energies, which transform like that. Then you get what is called the Shakti Parinamavad, which is the original philosophy given by Vedavyas Maharaj. Vedavyas's philosophy is Shakti Parinamavad. The absolute does not change, it's unchangeable. But because he has multifarious energies, these energies which are limited, they change. They create a variety, which is perfectly in line with the Brahma Samhita. And in that sense, I'll give you another angle. Don't be, because we're discussing Chaitanya Charitamrita, we should have, there is no compromising on the philosophy. We should preach in all angles. If the absolute, Purushottam, is unchangeable, he's always the same, right? And the variety is manifested by his energies, right? That means that the energies are creating, maintaining, and destroying, isn't it? Right? Now we get into Shaktism. They say, no, 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 no. It is not Vishnu who's maintaining. No, it's not Shiva who's maintaining. It is not Brahma who's maintaining. It is Durga who's creating, maintaining, destroying. Is it contradictory to our philosophy? Hmm? No. You know the shloka? Huh? You know the shloka? No. Srishti sthiti pralaya sadhana shaktir eka छाये वयस्य भुवनानि बिभर्ति दुर्गा इच्छानुरूपम अपि चचेष्टते सा गोविंदमादि पुरुषां तमहं भजामि. It's true. In one sense, we accept Shaktism. The creation happened by Mother Durga. She's maintaining it, and she's also destroying it. Then what is the role of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva? Shakti says, they are my children. We say, no, 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 they are controlling Shakti. Whatever it is, different angles are there. And yesterday, I forgot to say one very important thing. We're celebrating Krishna's appearance, but also, it was yesterday another person's appearance. Actually, today is Nandotsav, but it's another person who appeared, a great personality. Who is that personality? Who appeared yesterday? Yesterday? Yes. And that personality always appears on Janamashtami. Krishna, whose son was he? Vasudev's son. Yashoda gave birth to? Huh? To Durga, right? On the same day, right? And what did Mother Durga do? The first thing she did as a little baby, she sacrificed herself in order to save Krishna. So we should also celebrate Yogamaya's appearance, isn't it? She always appears side by side with Krishna, right? It is Subhadra. It's not Subhadra. It's not Subhadra. Subhadra is a manifestation which comes in Dwarka. You won't find her pastimes in Golok, in Braja Golok. Some devotees did some research on this. Why is it that Subhadra is not mentioned in any of the pastimes in Braja, in Vrindavan? She's only starts to appear in Dwarka pastimes. One devotee found the references from the Harivansh and others. I don't have it very fresh in the mind, so forgive me if I misquote something. It seems to be she's Ekanangsha, different from the energy of Vishnu, but she's not manifest in the Braja pastimes. She's there, but invisibly present. This is what he was quoting at. And she becomes more prominent when it is in Dwarka, but she's not the full manifestation of Durga, because Durga has only one husband, which is Shiva. But the Subhadra is getting married to Arjun. So therefore, she is actually a daughter of Durga. Then she can marry Arjun. So she's not the full manifestation of the Yogamaya potency. But it doesn't matter. These are intricate details how Shakti works, because the original child which comes through, she disappeared and went to the heavenly planets. And from there, she manifested in different places on earth called the Shakti Pithas. This is how it is described. But Subhadra comes in actually mainly in Dwarka pastimes. Yes, not even in Mathura you find her description. So the idea what the acharyas are saying, she's invisible in Braja, and but she becomes more visible in Dwarka. But interestingly enough, that we could also celebrate the Ashtami is also the appearance day of Durga, right? Who is the Yogamaya potency, which the Acharyas used to worship. Rupa Goswami's Ishta Devi was also Durga. By her blessing, he was worshipping Radha and Krishna. So that's one aspect of that. So Sri Vaishnavas have Visishtha Advaita. Then you have the Nimbarkas, who Mahamantra is like this. Radhe Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Radhe Sham, Sham, Radhe Radhe. And their Acharya are the four Kumaras. Sanak, Sanatan, Sananda, Sanat Kumar, they are the original acharyas of that sampradaya. And their idea is the absolute is Dvaita and Advaita. Two and one at the same time. Very close to our philosophy. Bheda and Abheda. Difference and non-difference. So these are the Nimbarkis. So they use this term Advaita very much because this is a Sanskrit term which appears in the scriptures. And then you have the Vallabhas, which I mentioned yesterday, Nandakaya Nanda Bhaye Jai Kanaya, that mood of Krishna being a little kid, that is very much in the Vallabha Sampradaya like that. And in Vrindavan, that mood is very prevalent. Therefore, it's easy to take over that Sampradaya, the Vallabha Sampradaya, where Krishna is a little baby and Nanda Baba is giving donations like an elephant, can also be a toy elephant, and then a horse and things like that. So Vallabhacharya was preaching that Krishna, taking Krishna as a kid, Vallabha Sampradaya has Vatsalya Bhav, and the philosophy is Shuddha Advaita, pure oneness. What does it mean? There is nobody more pure than Krishna. And you have a concept that there are two kinds of Brahman. There is the higher Brahman and the lower Brahman. The lower qualities and the higher Brahman doesn't have any qualities. Like that. So philosophy, Vallabhacharya's philosophy. Um, and the highest Brahman is supposed to then be Krishna. That's the higher Brahman. Then you have, which Advaita I mentioned, Kevala Advaita, Visishtha Advaita, Dvaita Advaita, and Shuddha Advaita. Five, no? I mentioned already. Kevala Advaita, Dvaita Advaita, Visishtha Advaita. Forgot the count. One last remaining here. Ramanuja mentioned. Vishnu Swami, it's the same as Vallabha Sampradaya. Then we have Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva, which is of the Gaudiyas. So that completes then these philosophies. And they also appear in a chronic, Madhvacharya, Dvaita philosophy, which is, we are a branch of Madhva Sampradaya also, which says, no, the absolute truth is not one, it's two, always two. Because if it is too close, if it is one, then the faults of the jivas will stain the absolute. This is the reason why Madhvacharya separates that. He says Dvaita. So you find the philosophy is developing from Shunya, zero, Buddha, into one, Shankara, then 1.5, Ramanuja, Madhvacharya 2, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, no, 1 and 2. Like that, how the concept of the absolute is being revealed. But you would say like the highest authority is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he is the Purushottam himself. All the other acharyas are servants of Vishnu. Like Ramanuja, he is an incarnation of Lakshmana. Shankaracharya is an incarnation of Shiva. Then Vallabhacharya is an incarnation of Shukadeva Goswami. And you have, who else is there? Nimbarkacharya, he is supposed to be an incarnation of Sudarshan Chakra. So they're very great, very great. But they're all aspects of Lord Vishnu himself, with his Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he came to give the fullest manifestation of Krishna consciousness. Did I answer your question? Like that. Anything else?
Prabhuji, yesterday one devotee asked that what is the proof that Shankaracharya is the devotee of Lord Krishna? He had written so many stotras on Ganga and Annapurneshwari, all these things. How you can realize that Shankaracharya is the devotee of Krishna?
Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam Mudhamate, Samprapte Sannihita Kale Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dukarin Karane. When the time comes to get the ultimate fulfillment of life, when death comes, then what should you do? You see? Actually, it was his mother who asked him. He said, Shankara, now I'm dying, and you're a great acharya. You tell me what I should do. So, because he preached to everyone like, oh, you have to purify your sanskaras, you have to meditate and do this. He said, listen, Shankara, I'm dying, I'm a woman, I'm not able to do all that. Give me a simple path. It says in his biography, Shankara looked left, he looked right, and then he said, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, to his own mother. That he said. So yeah, he just could not, avoid his Krishna bhakti. And that's the final instruction, right? Bhaja Govindam Mudhamate Samprapte. At the end of life, your Dukrin Karne, Sanskrit grammar, and construing all kinds of meanings like Sarabhama Bhattacharya is doing, will not help you, will not save you. Govinda can save you. Like that. So that's the evidence. The people ask this, it's obvious he's a devotee of Krishna. Vasudeva Sudam Devam, Vande Krishnam Jagadgurum. He accepts Krishna as the Jagadguru for everyone.
So if he arguments that Shankaracharya had written Simha Karavalamba Stotra also, so how we can defend that one?
Well, you can take, look in his biography. What is the last instruction he gives? Even in Prahlad Maharaj's pastimes, the discussion comes up, was Prahlad a devotee of Nrsimhadev or was he a devotee of Krishna? The acharyas point out that Nrsimha was a temporary form, but Prahlad is a devotee of Krishna. Right? The exact sloka I'm not remember right now, where it says that he was attached to Krishna and he understood that.
That's clear.
Sorry?
That is clear.
Oh, you know. Sloka.
Sloka, no.
Oh, okay. When you say something, you have to give, right? Therefore, that's the tradition. When you do Shastrartha discussion of scripture, it is etiquette that you also give the reference. Yeah, so it is like Krishna. There's a verse, he said that Krishna. Anyway.
Prabhuji, I have a question. So Supada, you said that is, who is Supada in Vrindavan? Because Supada has brought Jagannath and Baladev and yourself from Dwaraka to Vrindavan.
Yeah, that was us mentioning. This devotee is a great scholar. He said that according to his references, you don't find Subhadra anywhere in Brajalila, not even in the Bhagavatam during that time. She manifests only in Dwarka, her name and her form. Yeah. So it seems that she is, he was saying, she is there in Vrindavan, but she's invisible. She's present as Shakti, like that. And Krishna's sister, you won't find this described in the Braja pastimes that Krishna has a sister. But it becomes obvious when he's in Dwarka, then he has a sister also. So there is something happening here with Subhadra, and she manifests later. We can try to contact this devotee. He can send all these information and references for you.
But she was born not in Dwaraka. Supada, how? Sorry, I don't understand this.
See, there are more intricate details. For that, you have to probably consult Radha Krishna Ganodesha Deepika, because Shrimati Radharani has a sister also. You know that? A younger sister. And she has an elder brother. So we don't talk about this so much. Elder brother we know, Sridhama. But who's his younger sister? She must be extremely beautiful. Equally beautiful to Shrimati Radharani. Her name is Ananga Manjari. Right? So like that, these things are there. They don't appear in the pastimes. Nobody talks about that. But if you research, then you have to go into depth, because there are not so many scriptural references found. So then you have to consult Acharya's commentaries and go into real depth into finding that answer. What is happening with this Subhadra? She's not the same Durga. She's a partial manifestation because she married Arjun. And in a very dramatic way, she was kidnapped. Can you imagine anybody daring to kidnap, Durga? Mahishasur wanted to do that. Mahishasur came with a proposal because Mahishasur is a Shiva Ansha. What happened was, the pastime goes like this, that there was a demon named Rambhasur, and he was meditating, doing austere tapasyas for Shiva. Shiva appeared and said, "What do you want, Rambhasur?" He said, "I want to have you as my son." And Shiva said, "Okay, I'll give you benediction. I'll become your son." Then Rambhasur, he was happy, his desire was fulfilled, and as he was going home, he saw a she-buffalo. And the she-buffalo was actually a cursed princess. And he fell in love with the she-buffalo. He took the form of a buffalo, and he procreated a child with the buffalo. And that was the Shiva Ansha, the benediction of Shiva. And that son became Mahishasur. So he's the Shiva Ansha. And he fell in love with Durga, obviously, because Durga is the eternal husband of Shiva. But he fell in love with her, and he proposed that I'm the Lord and Master of the three worlds. You won't find any better husband than I do. And she was like, that's Durga laughs. Mahisha, you want to marry me? When I was a little girl, I made this innocent and stupid vow that anybody who defeats me in battle, only that person can be my husband. Durga is like that, always into power and fight. She's actually the ultimate power. Durga, we always speak a little bit derogative about her, but imagine how powerful she is. She's the combined power of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. And not only that, all the power of all the devatas are also in her, right? Therefore, she's oftenly addressed even in Bhagavatam as supreme goddess, right? She's the supreme in power, like that. So then Mahisha says to her, listen, be wise, I will marry with me. I will give you so much enjoyment that you will be enjoying, you will be tired from enjoyment, and there will be no end to your enjoyment. And then Durga looks at him. You, look at yourself. Buffalo. I will marry a buffalo? Never. And then that's why Mahishasura could change his shift shape, right? He could take up a beautiful form and also this buffalo form because he was like that. And then a fight starts between Mahishasura and Durga. It was a great fight. It took 9 nights on a stretch to fight, to kill him. Therefore, we have Navaratri, 9 days. And on the 9th day, she stood on his neck and chopped off his head. And the Mahishasura. But, before this happened, Mahishasura actually had a vision. It says in the Puranas, he had a vision of Devi, and he saw how he's being killed by her. His head cut off, but he was still sleeping, so he woke up shocked. Is it going to be my end? So he evoked Durga, and she appeared, and he worshipped her, and he says to her, I accept that destiny cannot be changed. What has to happen, has to happen. I'm going to be killed by you, but I want to have a benediction. I want to always reside under your lotus feet. And Durga said, Tathastu. And therefore, wherever you find Mahishasura and Durga together, she is always standing on his head. He becomes the pedestal because that was his desire, and he's a Shiva Ansha. So these intricate details are there, but in order to get the full story, you have to read several Puranas, like that. Part of the story is from the Kalika Purana, and then you have the Markandeya Purana saying about something, and like that. So then you find the full picture. So similarly, you have to do with Subhadra also. Then you find but I know one devotee who has done it. It's just not in my interest that I went into intricate detail, but I can contact him, and he will send all the information, and I can give it to you.
Yeah.
About this secret of Subhadra. Okay? Anything else? Grantara Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. What is today's program? What time is the Abhishek?